Hey, it's Chris, Liege Games. Let's do this. Kickstarter roundup for this week. A couple big launches, a couple big money makers, and a little bit of surprise in between. As always, we'll do updates at the end. Well, not as always. I've only done it for like a couple weeks, but you know, give you a couple glimpses into some of the updates since last week in terms of the big projects and the ones to know about, and a little bit of everything. And we'll just kind of see where it goes from there. So, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Please click subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate it, though, just for watching in the first place. So, let's do this. Getting right into it today. Look, I said it last week. I had no clue what Mythwind was going to do. I thought it would maybe have been more on the end of Lands of Galzir, Soul Raiders, that side of things, but it's blowing, honestly, my expectations out of the water. It's really doing well from the get-go. I think Brendan really set out and made sort of a little bit of community on Facebook where people felt like they were included. They were getting glimpses. They were being heard. You know, a lot of that. And it pays off also when you have a product that people are interested in. So it's a little bit of a symbiotic relationship. But to be almost $500,000 in less than 48 hours, that's doing really well. Because the open world concept is really, again, I think it's really divisive. I see comments all over the place about people loving it, you know. Then you have Artisans of Splendent Vale, and then you have Iridia, and you just, I mean, just the yin and the yang of it is that. And I think sometimes the appeal thematically and mechanically is, you know, again, very interesting to see how different people are incorporating different things in the same sort of style. So, Mythwind, so far, asymmetric, cooperative, pioneer, individual roles, less attacking, more building in that sense, more cooperative. And that's the other thing, is all of these games are really, all of the games I mentioned are cooperative. And are we going to see, or when are we going to see someone, you know, plunge into the deep end and look at more of a competitive game in that setting? And will it be a tabletop game? Can you do that in a tabletop setting? Anyway, what do you need to know about Mythwind? Well, if you're seeing this, you are probably going to be just in time, if you're early enough, for the 72-hour early bird. And it's getting you an exclusive pack, and every game sold gets a treat. So that's what you need to know. Now, again, it's expensive. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The basic pledge is going to cost you $85. The Expanded Horizons expansion included is going to be $116. So that's what you need to know. Now, the miniatures, and this is interesting. You've got 700 people here, which is how much is, you know, well over 10%, but you have about 50% at the miniature level. Now, where are the rest? $1? No. 700, 10% at the core, 10% with the expansion, and almost 50, which means you also have a lot of people right here, 1,200 riding along. So that's really interesting. I like that breakdown. That's a more diverse breakdown than I would have expected, just knowing what the pledge levels were going into this. It's an asymmetric open world, but also persistent world, and choices have meaning and matter and carry over. I mean, that's the whole premise of this open world concept. Now, asymmetry is done a little bit differently in this game. You're seeing asymmetric in terms of the mechanisms as well. And we don't see that, you know, with all those other games. You know, the character's unique, the powers may be unique, but the mechanisms that each of the characters uses, that's what really sets this one apart. And that could be either a blessing or a curse. Because what if you end up with one or two characters whose mechanisms you're not a big fan of? You know, what if you're not as big a fan of the worker placement in general? You know, using myself as the example, I'm not saying I don't like it in this, but that's a, you know, that's a legit question. You know, what if you really like deck building, and what if you wish this was 4 deck building characters instead of 1 of each? Town building, narrative. I mean, the other question I guess I've heard rumored and sort of milled about is, with So Open, are you going to have satisfying conclusions enough to an emerging narrative that happens throughout the game? And the answer to that is, frankly speaking, I don't think anyone knows. Frankly speaking, I don't think anyone knows. And that's sort of the exciting, but also slightly concerning side of things too. And that's I'm not pointing that out as Mythwind. I'm pointing that out about these games in general. I think it's worth saying. And it's worth noting. And how big of an idea is that? Because as with Lands of Galzir, you can very much make the argument with that. It's very similar to this. It's akin in the sense that the journey is more of what they're offering, rather than making the absolute end destination this fireworks display of amazingness and revelation and Sixth Sense, oh my gosh, spoilers, you know, M. Night Shyamalan at the end sort of style of things. So again, they go into what you're getting here, the crafter, this is the unique characteristic of it and what you're going to be doing there. The farmer, the unique components there. You see, again, secret envelopes. I'm a big fan of secret envelopes, by the way. Merchant and woodsman. And there you go. The general components of the board. Again, everything else that you're going to need to see. 5th player expansion. I mean, I guess that's also why I feel a little bit weird on this. A unique character or increasing the player count to 5. I don't know with any of these games that I've mentioned I would want to play at a higher player count necessarily. The only one I can think of offhand is maybe Artisans of Splendent Vale, but I'm not sure even then because I'm not sure, again, how much that's going to change the length. It seems like that one, of at least my peripheral knowledge of them, that have the least length change of adding a different player. I worry about some of the others where it could be or more suited to a 1 to 2 player side of things. And again, I think that's where you have to be aware of too. What is your ideal player count in your group, and how does that compare to this? So this is cool. Designing your own 5th player. I don't know. I guess the question is, how much of this do you have in store? I always have a blessing mixed with curse on this side of things, right? When I see Awakened Realms doing it, or I see other people doing it, like, I really hope that you have these really narrowed down and you're just not offering too broad of a base, because I also want it to be as compatible and as well done as the other 4. And I don't want it to be either over or underpowered. And that's sometimes what you see with stretch goals in some of the bigger campaigns or even some of the smaller campaigns. So the miniatures, again, I mean, are they pre-painted? No, they're just miniatures. Okay, magic sprites. So you know me, I would be getting one of the first 2 pledge levels at this point, because some of the other non-gameplay is never of a big interest to me. Stretch goals here. I didn't look at these beforehand, but they've already busted through a bunch of these. More cards, more tiles, more stuff. I mean, again, I'm a big fan of more stuff, big fan of more secret envelopes. Videos scattered along the way here in case you want to know how to play, how you're going to be playing throughout the actions and the mechanisms and the sort of trees that are going to be available in terms of what you're building and how you're achieving goals. And they just break it down in terms of the progression of all of these things. So there's enough video there, again, that you can get a good sense of it. It's on Tabletop Simulator if you want to check it out as well. So, yeah, there you go, Mythwind. Really, probably, I mean, it's a surprise. Not, but really it is. So that's cool. There you go. Next up is Fractal. You saw my video. Maybe you didn't. You probably didn't. But it's on this page. It's actually on my channel as well. Just 5 things I thought you needed to know about Fractal on the day of the launch, of the aspects that are going to either win you over or, you know, potentially make sure you're getting a product that you want or something that is not of your ilk. And you know me at this point, I want to let people know, like, what's important to them. Like, you need to know, because my goal is not to sell you a game. My goal is to make sure you're getting the right games for you. And if these things strike your fancy, this is what you need to know. What do you need to know about this game in case you don't want to watch my other, it was a relatively short video. It was like 13, 15 minutes. But what do you need to know right now if you're watching this video about Fractal? Now, obviously, the big comparison out there is Voidfall. This is distinctly different than Voidfall. It's not deterministic combat. It's not heavy Euro. It's more action selection, action upgrading, efficiency with asymmetry between the factions in that sense, with some modularity. And the Beyond the Void part of things right here is now they say legacy, they say campaign, but really what it looks to be is it's offering modularity to modify the game in ways that are going to make it unique every time you play and offer you different ways of trying to play and see how good you can play the game in that sense. So again, and that's something I've seen people in the comment section and the Board Game Geek forums, you know, mixed on. So what else do you need to know? Well, let's take a look at the pledge levels. This is the one thing I didn't know when I was making my video. So $92 is the base game. I mean, that's very comparable. And $138. So, I mean, that's, again, it's very comparable. It's probably what I would have guessed. It's maybe like 10, 15 bucks more than I would have probably predicted if you had asked me last week. The other side of things with this is supposed to be more of, I mean, it's a little bit of a lighter game. It's a little bit of a shorter game in that sense that it's not as heavy and it's not as long. And that's some of the appeal, I think, where they're trying to fit in, because, you know, with Voidfall, with Eclipse, with TI, you are getting the heavy end, you know, the 3, 4 plus 5 hour games. And if you don't want to do that, if you want to do a 2, if you want to do a 2 to 3, this is where this is going, and this is what it's more designed to be. Now, again, is it going to be for everybody? No, it's not. But you can try this one as well, just like Mythwind, out right now online with Tabletop Simulator, and you can get a good sense of things. And there's enough video and there's enough people already trying it out so that you can see what other people are saying. The tech boards are different, the asymmetry with the tactics and the mastery, and really the main key component of the game that's going to keep you on your toes, that you, again, may like or not like, is there's going to be a rotating cast of action cards that are going to be available to everyone, and you have the opportunity to take on your turn that are going to be subsequently replaced by other action cards. So the action cards that are out there initially may not be the action cards that you get on your turn to choose from, and how are you going to deal with that accordingly? The modularity here I mentioned with the maps, with the tiles, the hexes, if you will. They give you basic setups, and then it's randomized in terms of a lot of the portion of the hexes in the first place. Objectives and scoring can be different each game and variable there too. So, I mean, it's really a combination game of trying to optimize your strategy based on what you're given in terms of the setup, your asymmetry, as well as what you're dealing with here in the scorings and the objectives. So that makes it a little bit different than any of the others. The miniatures, you can see right here, and a little bit of everything else. A little bit of the videos, a little bit of the other things that I've already kind of talked about. The Automa, Solo, and a couple more videos, and that's about it. Wait, where's my video? Ah, there's my video. That's cool. And so there we go. That is Fractal. Again, I mean, it's not Voidfall by any means, but for something that didn't nearly have the hype or the name of Mind Clash behind it, you know, the fact that it's already over 200,000 US dollars in, again, less than 48 hours is still very, very good. I think we get kind of numb to the numbers sometimes about, oh, well, it doesn't have 7 figures. Man, 200,000 is 200,000. Period. So, there you go. Next up is Don't Go In There. Again, 200% of its funding goal. Things are funding this week. People like what people are putting out this week on Kickstarter. Unfoldable dice box, exploring a haunted house. I've talked about this a little bit on the preview video. 47 games in 40 minutes. This is, now, I didn't know this was by the creators of Canvas. That's interesting. So you're going into these houses and you're going along these progressions of these rooms, trying to go further and further in. But if you go further and further in, you have a better chance of getting what you need, but you also have a higher chance of getting haunted. The more haunts you have, it's sort of like whoever ends up with the most haunts at the end loses the most points. And so you have to sort of press your luck on that side of things. Glow-in-the-dark dice. And this is really cool. I actually like the functional board game box, because it, again, reminds me more of some of the things I've seen recently, a la like Let's Make a Bus Route, the dice game, where the inside of the lid is part of the game, or something like Ice Cool, where you're using it. It's not just this superfluous empty air space that you have that's taking up too much shelf area in the first place. So the fact that they're doing that is kind of cool. Retail edition, we're going to skip over that. So limited edition, what are you getting here? More cards and stretch rolls and more cards. So, okay. I mean, for $10 more, I think most of us are going to get that. I'd be shocked to see if that's not where most of the people are. Yep, 1,400 of the just over 1,500. There's 40 backers and 1,500 backers there. Again, not surprising. How you're playing, again, combination of curse cards, so more is better than, gives you a different variable game each time. I mean, this is one that I'd remind me on right now. I don't really know. Apart from that, I haven't watched any of the video. Set collection, push your luck. So I can see why it's well funded. It's definitely a different aesthetic, definitely the right time of year. So don't go in there. Check it out. Next up, we have Roll Camera, the reprint with the expansion. Again, when I did the video of the upcoming games, like, I didn't know anything about this one. This one was, I had never really heard of this game. I didn't know it from anything until I put my video out, until I looked into it a little bit. And the fact that, I mean, it's got an expansion and it's raised $70,000. I mean, I heard a lot of you guys in the comment section actually saying like, oh yeah, I was really interested in this game. And I was like, man, okay, cool for something I'd never even known before. The B-movie expansion. And it looks like it's more of a cooperative game, which again, I really wasn't sure of prior to this. How to play. So again, here you go. It rolls through things. It rolls through things. You get your dice, you roll them, you assign them, you shoot the scenes according to what you've got already. You're assembling it, and then based on what you've got going on here, everything costs money, and so you need to be aware of the cost side of things. You have unique abilities that are, again, asymmetry and how you're going to be able to mitigate things. And you have to shoot 5 scenes. What is the purpose then of the B-movie expansion? you have to, again, make it a little bit tougher. Your script has specific requirements, new ideas that can be swapped in and out for more variability, and more equipment cards to help you get the things done in the first place in the right way. A few quotes here with some good comments. Awesome. Rulebook, which is also very helpful. Again, tabletop simulator. So I guess this is the other side of things when you get down here. It says it won't have a traditional retail release, so he's not going to be seeking traditional distribution. And I mean, maybe that's why people haven't been able to get it, and they're so supporting it right now. So what are we talking here for $30 expansion? The base game's $50. Okay, so you're not really saving anything if you get both. So you're saving $1, which is fine, which is what it is. There's nothing wrong with that either from that side of things. Scene shooting here with the audience and the backers, and goes through the pledge levels, which I just looked at. A little bit of the add-ons here. Shipping afterwards, shipping estimator. Okay, that's all you need to know. Again, very interesting concept. You don't see a lot of the movies or the TV side of things. Very few games taking that into a meta version, if you will. But as a cooperative game, it's definitely unique. Check it out if you're interested. Next up, we have Crisis on Cardea. I have no clue what this is. You're taking a look at it for the first time with me. It's more of an educational game, it says, for 2 to 5 players, but it's already $16,000, 200% of its funding goal. So let's check this out together. Sequence matching game, 2 to 5 players taking control of specialists to respond to pathogen outbreaks and crises. So what are we actually doing here? Outbreak deck, planet deck, great. 2 decks, bunch of cards. Here's the rulebook. The concept of this game is actually relatively simple, but a little bit clever at the same time. Now, the interesting side of things is you get 6 cards that you then take 3 of, and then distribute the other 3 into your planet or your city in front of you. The planet deck is the large blue deck. And then you reveal these crisis cards, and these crisis cards are going to have this symbology on the bottom. And so you have to be laying your people in that order, and it matters the order actually, not just having those 4 down. And so during your turn, you can see here that you're going to be essentially playing them onto the line of things that you need, or you're going to be switching them around. So then you have to play these in order, and this is going to be something that you're going to be trying to do to match the outbreaks equal to the number of players that are put out in the beginning of the game. And so the other thing that you can do is on your turn, you can play one, or you have the ability to sort of shuffle the order, because again, like I said, order matters. The other thing that you can do is tucking, where you have to put a card on the bottom of the deck. Now, the interesting thing is you can put it on the bottom of your city deck, in the one in front of you, or you can put it on the bottom of the planet deck, which is the large deck that everyone got dealt from the beginning. And alongside of that, you also have the actions that you can take, because you have action cards that can either help and sort of rearrange, or they can disrupt other people's. First one to get 10 victory points wins. That's the whole concept. They give you here in a little bit prettier version, but the rule book there lays it out cleaner in that sense. So a couple videos here, Tabletopia. That's it. That's all you need to know. Now, what's the price point here? $25. Okay. Now, 2 copies and 2 copies donated will get you 50. Yeah, there you go. Donated copy for every copy bought, essentially. Now, there's an early bird, but you can still get in on that. Now, $16,000, though, on 142 people. You have 32 people doing the $100 pledge. That's why you're at so much. Okay. But anyway, Crisis on Cardea. Check it out. Next up, The Phantom, the card game. Terror in Mawatan? I don't know how to pronounce that. Anyway, it's the expansion to The Phantom, the card game. Again, I mean, like, things are funding this week. There's a lot of big stuff. There's a few smaller things as well, but interesting. I have no clue about this game. They say right here, funded in May 2020. So they got working on an expansion. So I am not familiar with The Phantom at all. It's not one of those things I was ever very interested in. Demo, you can print and play, tabletop simulator. Rado's got a preview of the initial game, it looks like. One Stop Co-op Shop does too, and so does everybody apparently. I never heard of this, but apparently everyone else has. So a bunch of videos here. Now, I don't like seeing the videos at the top. Again, you've heard me say that. Like, I have no clue right now. I am 3/4 of the way through the page. I have no clue what this game is doing. None. There is no explanation of how to play. There's no explanation of why I should get it now. There's nothing. So apparently this has an IP, though, that people like. That's cool. But if I'm coming across and I know nothing about it, how eager am I going to be? I mean, $19 for an expansion, great. local pickup in Sweden for those of you that are in Sweden, and 57 gets you the base game shipping, the base game stretch goals, and you get now the base game though in November, and you can get the expansion when it comes out. So I have no clue about this, but hey, other people do. So if you're interested and you like the Phantom, check it out. Next up, we have Federation, which is already almost funded. Now, again, what does this mean and why do you need to know about it? Interactive Euro game. Okay, that's going to win people and lose some people right away, right? Innovative. Okay, I always find it weird when people talk their own game as innovative. Double-sided worker placement. Okay, double-sided worker placement. I have no idea. I can picture it in my head, but I don't know how it's going to work out in concept. So let's take a look at this. One of these times I am going to start doing like a giveaway in the random middle part of these videos when I'm talking about the smaller projects, just to see how many of you people are actually paying attention or how many people are like skipping around. Like one of those things where I'm like, okay, tell me at this timestamp what the answer to this question is, and just have people like put the answer in like random comments in the comment section, and people are gonna be wondering like, why are people randomly typing the word Space Kraken in the middle of the anyway. So I'm sort of joking, but not really, because I kind of want to do it as a test experiment. Interactive worker placement game, essentially. Joining the Federation. Again, Rado's got his thing out there. Rado's got everything. That's interesting. I feel like for a while I didn't see him anywhere. Now every single game almost, which is it's very interesting how these things go in waves, right? You've heard that before in other industries. Things go in waves. Like all of these types of things all come in at once. And I'm getting sidetracked. Double-sided worker placement. Voting side, funding side. Okay. Multi-dimensional Senate. Chosen impacts the majority and financing of major projects. What are you doing here, though? Like, how does this actually work? Are we going to see this, or are we just going to see all this stuff? Again, marketing. Whoa, okay. 75 euros. Okay. Interesting. Still don't know how to... Oh, here we go. It's halfway down. Okay. 5 rounds, 2 phases. So I was going to pull up the rule book for you. It's 32 pages. There's no way I'm going to be able to summarize it well. So we're just going to use the thing that they've got here. So you've got your tokens. You're going to be choosing either the voting side or the funding side. And you perform the action of the space that you're choosing. And then depending on what symbol you've chosen, it also is going to have you have different actions or different abilities. Obviously, this is not English as a first language. So hopefully they're going to have someone proofread from that side of things. And that's okay. No big deal. But what are you going to be doing? There's lots of actions. There's lots of different spots on the board here. Right into the round, you're going to be doing other things, including getting income from all the stuff you've built. They've got sort of the 5 things that you're going to be doing even in this phase. So really saying that, it's 2 phases, but it's got 2 phases in the first phase. It's got 5 different sections in the second phase. So really it's, almost 7 phases that you're going to be doing 5 times, not 2 essentially. So again, it's Euro. It's different. You're gonna be funding projects. You're gonna be trying to delegate the most prestige points gained. Again, check the rules out for something like this. I don't know. I don't have a clue on something like this, how it's going to compare. Again, you've heard me say plenty of times from a Euro side of things. I mean, because nowadays the quotes are gonna not really help you differentiate the good stuff from, or the stuff that you're gonna like versus the stuff you may not like. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It's definitely Europe-based, and it looks different. I agree with them. I mean, for the once, innovative is innovative. How well it does that's going to be the question. And so I'll shoot the question to you guys in the comment section. You Euros that are, you Euro gamers that are out there that like this sort of thing, tell me, is this appealing to you? Does this look like a good concept? I don't know. But if you're interested, check it out, Federation. Next up, 18 holes, reading the greens. Again, 100% funded. Doing good. 18 holes expansion. So what are you getting? I have no clue what this is. Arcadey feel to the golf on a tabletop scene. I like this. Decision tree, right? How do you want to do it? Breaking it down. I like this. This is clever. I give them a lot of credit to now. Now, if I actually knew what the game was doing, that'd be also helpful. New expansion, new modules in terms of reading the greens and taming the wind. Coastal packs as well. Course Architect right there is the roll and write, if you will, and then the putting, wind, and coastlines expansions are the new things here, but then the 18 holes itself is the actual base game. So this is the expansion stuff, and reading the greens, you've got these hex-based areas that are going to be sort of changing as you design your course and flip it randomly up. and you can see a little bit of what apparently there's compatibility with most of it, it looks like. Expansion promo, 18 holes, the course architect, that's the roll and write I just mentioned. Read the rules there again. 18 holes poster, rewards, the tour expansions here, the new golfer if you're, getting in there. But again, like, you can get a gist of what it is in terms of how you're going to be setting it up, in terms of making a course like this and then playing the adjustment cards or the golfer cards with the abilities and the shot cards. So how you're going to be driving it essentially is card-based, golf, if you will. So down here at the bottom, they've got, after they've gone through the individual expansions, they have the rules of the base game, and this links over to their website where they break it down, and this is like a whole web page. It's not a PDF, but it's establishing sort of what you need to know about this. So you're going to be putting out these tiles, you're going to have adjustment tiles, you're going to have these golfer cards, like I said, the shot cards that you're going to be playing, and the orange hex essentially right there is where your ball hits. You have different decks representing different distances and different directions for your shots. Hit the ball left, right, and in some cases your choice of direction. So that's a little bit of the variability there. Hole-in-one marker, that's awesome. And green scoring, multiple ways to play this. I think it looks like there's a little bit of solo, two-player, team-based, a little bit of everything in that regard. This is how you're building your course. They even give you a guide on how to build your first one and your first game, how you're drafting the clubs in the first place. So, I mean, this is really taking it down to a little bit to the minutia, but also with a little bit of control and randomness at the same time as you move your golfer and shoot the ball along the course. So, again, this is something, as not a big golf fan, this doesn't do anything for me, but I know people that would probably be interested in this from a sports side of things. My brother-in-law might be like something that my brother-in-law would love doing because he is a big golfer, but anyway, I mean, it's doing great. Again, for something I'd never heard of, check it out, 18 holes. Next up, the things I never thought I'd be saying for 200, Alex. The Big Pig game, cooperative food eating game. So again, it's about 40% funded. So what do you need to know about this game? 1 to 4 players, 40 minutes, and strategy game for family or gamers. What are we getting into here? How are we playing? Whole bunch of stuff. Whoa, $50. That's more than I would have expected for that family style games. Oh, Bunny Party at Maple Valley. I remember talking about that one months and months and months ago. So by the same people that made that. Making a character like Mythwind. How to play. So here we go. Take a snack token. Place it on one of the actions that you have. Take that action. Okay. Perform the action. Start taking food tiles off the board if you're eating. Munch all of the food tiles to win. Okay, so where's the nuance there? Play a card, you can spend the food tiles you collected to boost your action cards to get a more powerful effect. Full rulebook. Online, you can play it. Stretch goals as well. It looks like when you click on the full rulebook, there are a bunch of powers and a bunch of abilities that all of the characters are going to have in terms of the asymmetry there of the 4 players. So I wish they gave us a little bit more of the nuance on the page, but it has, an 18-page rulebook, which is only about actually half that length if you click on it. So if you're interested in this as something of sort of a different vibe, definitely, and a different mechanic that we have not seen in sort of like this tile removing and, upgrading abilities, check it out. It's out there. The Big Pig game. There you go. Now we'll get into a few that I talked about on the upcoming ones that I knew were launching, Magical Friends and how to summon them. Again, the very interesting thing on this is one of those that's not yet funded. It's over 50%, but the quotes on here, again, are from some big name channels, and they're very, very positive. And one of those where I wonder, I don't know why this isn't funding. I don't know. I've heard good things about this and rumbling elsewhere. So we'll see. I mean, the art book pledge, but here's the pledge. I mean, $57. I guess that's the question. Is this a $57 game for people? 76 for all of the extras. So you're going to be summoning these creatures along this path, as the other wizards are doing. And as you summon them, essentially, you're trying to get the most friends to this tavern for the party, but you're cheating and summoning, them, not just bringing them. The paths to the tavern are not without fraught, though. There's going to be a lot of things causing trouble for you as well as your opponents. The fancy add-on pack, gameplay. Okay, so that talks about it just in, general terms here. Choose a card, allow you to place it along this board, and it's got all standees. I mean, I guess that's the other issue is, you're getting standees, the artwork is fine, 40 unique creatures, own abilities, interacts with other creatures differently. I mean, this has a high appeal to someone like me, so, I'm already going to hit remind me right now. I am. double-sided paths combined in different ways. The standees also, I saw down on the page earlier when I was glancing at it, that the standees are like permanent setup. So like it's not like a take on, take off. The game box and the way they're constructed is going to be different so that you don't have to worry about the damage of, I mean, because that's honestly sometimes the big issue with standees, if the damage to the bottom of the tiles. Slaying the opponent's creature, you get a trophy. Most trophy gets a bonus. So, you know, every form you lose, you get pity power. Great. Yeah, 40. I mean, this, I don't know why this isn't funny. I mean, this looks solid. Here's the standee thing that I was talking about. Here's the rules. Again, I like the fact that all these, you know, campaigns seem to, you know, have rules up and you can try them all online. I mean, that's definitely the way things are heading. Links, social media, reviews. Again, I mean, like I said, plenty of bigger channels than me that are out there that are talking about this. So, I don't know. Maybe a little bit more on the page. I just don't, I guess maybe a little bit more in-depth explanation on the page of how this is actually functioning. I don't know, it's just interesting. I don't know why this isn't funded faster. And will it fund? I think it has a very good shot at funding as long as it stays, you know, $1,000, $1,500 a day. Shouldn't have any problem, right? But that's the question, is sometimes, you know, things stall, and can they pick up momentum again? And the concept, I guess, when you look at the rule book from that side of things, again, it's relatively straightforward. This is not like super like complex, right? You have allegement artifacts that are, you know, symmetric between each player, and the bigger artifact that you give up puts you higher in the turn order, which allows you to summon sooner. But the ones that are lower are going to give you more of these bonus effects. And so what do you want to do? How do you want to proceed? It reminds me a little bit of the turn order essentially in like something like El Grande, if you will. And so I really like that in El Grande. And then you're summoning a creature each turn. They're moving. There's no limit to the amount of people that can be on a certain space. And you're just trying to get into the tavern without having them killed to get the most there at the end. I mean, again, it's relatively straightforward. It's good. It's nuanced. I don't know. Do people not like the art? Is it too expensive for what people were thinking? I don't know. It seems solid. So I've got Remind Me on it. I'm going to be checking the videos out on this probably after this video, so I can really tell if it's for me, because it definitely has the appeal and the type of game that I sort of like, with a little bit of chaos, a little bit of take that, and a little bit of tactical strategy. So there you go, Magical Friends. Next up, Zoo King, strategic zoo building card game. I talked about this one as well. Zoo Tycoon, the card game. You are creating a zoo of your own, trying to design one better and more solid than other people. It's sort of a little bit of a set collection, tile, card, really not tile, card laying strategy game. So you can see, okay, draft your cards, draw the event card that you need to do, draft animals, staff, and the facilities, and you're going to be laying them down based on how you want them, counting up how many stars you have, and matching the set collections in terms of locale, and trying to get the most points. I mean, it's relatively straightforward. Now, this was my other question of how many different types are there going to be? Is it all unique? I mean, you can see here there's some duplicates, some rarity, if you will, to go along with that, and they're adding some stuff from backers. So, same thing with the faculty and the events. Interesting. $24? Okay. $29 gets you Souvenirs expansion. What are you getting in the expansion here? 12 new cards. Most memorable zoo. Yeah, it's well priced. About what I'd expect. And $8,000. It's $5,000 fine goal. Zoo King. Check it out. Next up, we have Terraternity. Talked about this one as well. It's about almost 40% funded. And this is a dual campaign. One is a card game, and one is a Euro mechanism style game, trying to play on the theme of saving the planet and taking a real life look at it from that side of things. $30 for the card game, $60 for the Euro worker placement style game. And the interesting mechanism of this, if you're looking at this, and what you're doing is you're slowly dexterity stacking them up. And so you only have disasters when one cube drops. And obviously, as you stack more of them, it becomes harder and harder to do. And they say instead of, as a stretch goal, stacking them, you can put them in a bowl. Less challenging, but still fun if you're dexterity challenged. Okay. Yep. Planting trees. Great. I love seeing that. That's actually really cool. I think more projects and games should do that. I think that would be great thing to be able to do in the first place. So what's the card challenge looking like though? Competitive, also cooperative. It's really interesting concept to see two different games in the same project of the same theme of the same, ilk, if you will. Okay, so the card game, mini version of the challenge, only with cards. What are you getting? 6 cards, play a card, build a plant, remove cubes for every year of the building time, activate the green cubes if the amount is greater than the CO2. Any cube falls, disaster happens, and you count for negative points. It's definitely different. I have no idea what to make of that from a dexterity and worker placement side of things. I could see people getting equally intrigued, but also equally frustrated from that side of things, right? Here's more of the Euro side of things. Again, I can't speak to the Euro side of things. That's just not my area of expertise. So they give a little bit of the how to play here. There was some rule book, I believe, up there as well. You can get a good sense of... I like this. I like the fact that you're giving me a little bit more explanation and a little bit of how you're doing it. Now, this looks like a dice worker placement side of things. Your action dice. Perform those actions. Get your country card into your play area, and you're producing CO2. Place your flag in the country in the board game and mark ownership, paying your CO2. Don't drop them. Play an energy card that allows you to do it. Neutralize 5 countries if you're competitive, or 8 in cooperative. So carbon neutralize a country. So activate the green cubes with a finished energy plant and get the black fossil plant as a victory point. Okay. Collect the cubes, make it more powerful, create a mega plant. And then obviously we talked about how to get the disasters. So rulebook right there, bunch of other videos down here. How things play into real life. This is a long page. This is a really, really long page. I am just scrolling and scrolling. Price points, we talked about that a little bit, didn't we? Yep. So anyway, this is Terraternity. Very interesting concept. We'll see how it goes. Are people interested in something like this? This is the second or third one I've seen in the last 6 months. So it's definitely becoming more of a theme. But again, is the money there? We'll see. They got 25 more days to go. Check it out. Now, next up is Meridian, Empire, and Space. We talked about this one as well. This one had a very nice, simplistic website that I pulled up on the preview video that sort of gave the breakdown of the 3 main phases of this game as sort of a space exploration game. More of, they say, a 4X puzzle. But again, rulebook is on here as well. Now, they call it a light 4X game. Empire building less than 2 hours. So, a la what we saw at the beginning, Fractal. So 72 hours to unlock this stuff. Again, objectives, you're controlling the Meridian star in the middle. And the game ends when all are claimed or a single player has presence across the entire board. Energy is, how you're activating all of your turns. And they kind of run through things here. Let's see if they have that same little graphic that they had on their website, because that was really intuitive. And they don't, unfortunately. It just basically went through turn by turn what you're going to be doing. Solo mode. I don't know. There's not as much on the page as there was on their websites. I wish that they would actually have just put those graphics, because they explain things very well. Limited on your turn with energy. 1 renewal of cell. Colonize to get, more, essentially, to build up. Colonize, how you do that. How you're gaining energies from those colonizations. Deterministic combat that they talked about. And then the events that are going to be triggering throughout the game. I just wish there was a little more. So, it looks fine. A lot of videos. But, you know what? We'll see how it goes. Meridian, Empire and Space. Bark Magic. Well, I included it because it's got $5,000 raised. I have no clue what this is. Runes of Dogoon. Tabletop game, 2 to 4 players. Unearthing mystic gems and crowned the ultimate sorcerer. I can't make this stuff up, folks. Outwitting your opponents, winning heated battles, and it's Bark Magic. Okay, so they're relaunching, hoping to produce $515,000, so now they're shooting for half that. Okay. 1 of 4 characters of your canine wizards. You have magic power, right there in the middle. You have asymmetric abilities. They're allowing 1 backer to pick the last one, okay? And 3 main cards that you're going to be choosing from: relics, events, and skills. You're dealt 5 skill cards. Remaining cards you can refill your hand. Event cards are in the middle, and relics are into 3 piles of 5 and placed right next to the events. You're going to be breaking this into 2 phases: action phase and event phase. And so they give you an example right here where you're going to be playing 1 action, And then you're going to be playing, usually one skill card, they say, but you can also go dig for relics, or, if you don't like what you have, go get a new one. Boosts, obviously, all the other actions that you can get here. Yeah, I think I really recognize some of these images now that they're, scrolling down here on the page. If you have enough MP, magic power, you can use your action phase to dig that I mentioned about getting a relic card from one of the piles. And then it resets your magic power back down. But you want to find the mystic gems, and whoever digs them up, you have to do whatever they say, for better or for worse. And then, after everyone is gone, you're pulling an event. Event cards, you either go head-to-head, or you work together. So, this is interesting. First one to roll a 6 is victorious. Roll a combined odd number. That's really, really interesting. And then how you're going to be interacting with your opponents, because sometimes you're going to be going head-to-head, sometimes it's a free-for-all, sometimes you're going against a specific opponent. So those indicate who you're going against. Interesting. Get 3 Mystic Gems, and you win. $22 for the early bird, $25 for that, $50 for 2, and design it as the higher levels. Let's see what those actually are. Yep, you want your dog in there? Great, they can do it there. Or if you want to put your dog in the game as, other official art on a skill, you can do that as well. So that's contributing significantly to its funding right now. But, I mean, hey, it's already almost 65% of the way funded, so we'll see where it ends up, and that's Bark Magic. We're going a little bit tangential now, but this is top shelf tokens, realistic resources. And they've got 4 different big books that you're going to be able to choose from, almost 200% funded. I know, again, this is a big market now for people of wanting realistic upgrades and realistic pieces for the games that they love. And $50 per box is not going to be cheap, but again, people love it, and they even list out, luckily for you, compatible games that you can use those with. So they list a bunch of the big ones there. You're going to get them early. Some few stretch goals here. A few add-ons for additional stuff. Huh, there you go. Oh, wow. This is interesting. Everyone's got preview videos for these as well. I never would have thought that. Okay, cool. Shipping is what it is. Huh, there you go. Deluxify on Kickstarter. Your board games. There you go. Check it out. Now we have Hair of the Dog. This is, again, it's about 2/3 of the way funded. So what is this game? Let's take a look. The only pub in town where the dogs are there and the drinks are always full price, it says. So, this is a really interesting concept, folks. I can't believe I'm reading this and I'm going to be talking about this. You need to be the undisputed best at hand-to-dog contact. A variety of scratching styles. Again, can't believe I'm saying this on camera. Pet the dogs. Don't be afraid. Relaxing evening. There you go. Bar tiles, pets, toys, shame tokens. Okay, this is... This is interesting. I don't know what to make of this. They go through about how you're going to be playing it here. Between 2 to 8 players, trying to pet different dogs. As you pet more, they'll become more riled up. You need to soothe them, and by having toys or being near their favorite beer before you can pet them again, you need to learn what conditions are going on by observing what other people are doing or asking through awkward conversation, as they say. Navigate the bar, trying to get along with the dogs, trying to grab more toys, or just, they say, walking without falling over. Okay. Each action costs a sip of your beverage. If you run dry, the waitstaff doesn't care for freeloaders and will shame you. Wow, this is totally thematic. This is really interesting. Okay, print and play, tabletop simulator. This is crazy. This is the weird stuff that you find on Kickstarter that is really actually endearing at the same time. So, $35 for the base game, and retail case is $70. So $35. There you go. And what do they have here? Oh, sold out if you were an early bird for $30. Okay, $5 early bird. Who cares? Now, I guess the only thing I'd say is when you do early birds, I like seeing this, by the way. I like seeing this breakdown. So that's really good. But I guess with the early birds, I guess if I was ever to run a Kickstarter, I would have enough early birds that it's going to meet the funding goal. Because otherwise you end up like this, where people come in and they say, I don't get the early bird. Why should I get it? And then it kind of stalls out. And so if you've got an amazing product, well, it's not a big deal. Or if the discount is that insignificant, well, great. But if it's a bigger gap, or if people are really picky nowadays. So you just need to be aware of that. And so I wonder if this is going to continue to trend, or how much of this was in the first day. But anyway, it's a totally unique, totally different concept. I can't believe I said half the things I said, but that's Hair of the Dog. Check it out. Next up, we have Duelists. Now, I talked about this one as well in my upcoming video. This is a 2-player, asymmetric, ability-esque, head-to-head dueling game, and, what else would Duelists be about otherwise? So it's a little bit of an interesting take on things that we don't really see in other ways. So let's talk about it a little bit. I mean, here are your asymmetric characters with the different powers, and they give you the whole rules. Great. You can try it on Tabletop Simulator. Also great. So you've got the prep, the plan, and the attack phase. And so what you're doing is you're laying these cards down left to right, and on the first part of your turn, you remove the card that's leftmost, and then you draw back up to 7, and then you're able to play another card. And you're going to be flipping these cards and then selecting an attack value, essentially. And if the opponent can guess it correctly, then they can negate the attack. But if they can't, they take the damage. And now, I'm not going to go into all the nuances of it, but that's the basic gist of it. Now, the interesting thing and the twist on it is the damage is done to the cards or the deck themselves. So if you run out of cards, you lose. Or if you can't reshuffle and get cards back into your hand, you're out. So that's where the successful nuance comes into this game in the first place. Look, there's special abilities that go along with this that are going to modify that along the way. They don't go a whole lot into it in the page itself, but I mean, it's what you need to know. Stretch goals if they fund, okay, and this is probably a true stretch goals. First Blood, early bird, 24 euros. I mean, it's a little expensive for what it is, but I mean, this is one of those indie games where I expect it to be a little bit more expensive. It's not going to be big. It's not going to be massive. So, you know, it is what it is at this point. I'm not surprised. Now, rest of the world, that's probably the biggest problem for me right now in terms of backing it, is the shipping is going to cost as much as the game itself, essentially. So, I mean, it is what it is. But if you're in Europe, it might be worth checking out. So, anyway, this is the Duelists. If you're interested, there you go. Now, up on Gamefound, we have Goldenstar, the Galactic Tournament by Gindi. It's only about a third of the way funded right now. This asymmetric, what they call deck builder, area control style game. Sort of like Magical Friends earlier in the video, this is one of those where I don't really know, or I don't really have a good answer about why it's not funding. Like I said, quotes, big name people liking it, the asymmetry, the deck building, I mean, again, are two things that people seem to really enjoy. I don't know. I guess this one for me, I'll be frank with you on this one. Gamefound, I kind of forgot it launched. Gamefound doesn't have a lot of draw right now on the non-big campaigns, the non-super massive campaigns for a lot of people, I think. And so it's just, sometimes I feel like some of those other Kickstarter ones that I've talked about already this week, they just get sheer exposure that's just higher. And there's something that cannot be said or made up for in that, especially if you don't have something running coincide. Like if you had Unbreakable with Chip Theory Games, or if you had Lords of Ragnarok and I'm already over on Gamefound and then I'm surfing, you know, because I've done that sometimes in terms of Kickstarter. I haven't done that on Gamefound. I just haven't. And I wonder with things like this and the Peterson game collection and a few of these other smaller ones, if it's kind of hurt them. And I wonder what that's going to do to the upcoming Gamefound ones. Anyway, as a side ramble, I mean, the all-in pledge is 72 euros, which again isn't too expensive. The core is 43. The expansion with stretch goals is 69. So, again, the difference there is not too much. Getting promos, I think, for this extra 3 euros there. And I don't know. I don't get a great sense when I was previewing it either about how different it's going to be. I mean, there's a lot of take that. The area control is going to be head-to-head fighting with the deck builder, it seems like. So it looks unique. It looks different. And there's plenty of, like I said, video-wise, if you really want to know. So they get down to the actions here, and this gives you a little bit of a better glimpse. So I like the fact that they included this. 2 champions, mix your skill deck. You get 2 actions with each champion. And one of the important ones that you do is you fight. Buy stronger cards, make your deck stronger, move and attack in other arenas. I mean, again, this seems cool. This seems like a deck builder sort of King of Tokyo. And instead of having 1 Tokyo, there's 3 or 4. I don't know. I guess I'm wondering what I'm missing and why people aren't looking at it from that side of things. So I don't know. It's another question mark for me. Why aren't people backing this? So I don't know. It looks interesting. Looks enthralling. Check it out if you're interested. Gindi, Goldenstar, the Galactic Tournament. So we'll run through a few quick updates, and we'll start with Voidfall. I mean, what can't be said about Voidfall at this point, right? They are already at $1.1 million. And it's just going to get more. I would wager a guess, even with 10 days to go, you're going to be pushing closer to $2 million by the time this ends. Now, you guys in the comments section have really sort of hit home for me. You're absolutely right. This is not a game for me. Like, I'm not going to get this game played. If this is going to play 4 hours, it doesn't matter how good, how Spirit Island in space this is. It's just not going to be for me. Now, they're hitting through a bunch of stretch goals, and this one of the later updates has a little bit more of an updated page on that side of things. Again, they're just adding a little bit more. I just wonder how much of this is planned again, too. Especially this. I mean, you're going to upgrade to miniatures. I have to feel like that was pre-planned, which is fine. But again, I don't think they're necessarily doing anything in terms of stretch goals that other people, haven't done the same way. So, but you're getting more. You're getting a new house here as well to utilize. So it's kind of cool. More. Voidfall's killing it. Beast, also, the update on Beast is that they've decided to have 2 exclusive add-ons. One is acrylic standees, and I love the thought of acrylic standees, actually. This is probably the best case scenario for this game from my standpoint. But again, it's $20. So that's the issue. And sleeves, it's fine. Don't care. I can see why you would like them in a game like this, because there are a lot of cards, especially in that movement deck. There aren't as many nearly as much of the action cards and the individual cards. So, I mean, I can see why it's probably going to be a little bit lower price point than some of the other sleeves in other campaigns. But, I mean, neither of those are terribly exciting for me. Hopefully, we're going to get a few more unique art for the cards as well going forward, depending on what else they hit in terms of money. And updated prices in the shipping section. So if you were interested in Beast before and shipping was an issue, highly suggest you check it out. Keep the heroes out. I mean, it's still going too. I mean, they've added, I think, 2 new scenarios 11 and 12. Again, 315,000. I mean, this is more than Beast, which is crazy to me right now. For this sort of reversed tower defense-ish dungeon crawl game. Meeples, monsters, scenarios, fighting off the heroes from getting the treasure. I don't know what else to say about it. You either like it or you don't have any interest in it whatsoever. Speaking of things that you may or may not be interested in, now we have Tales of the Red Dragon, which again, the question of this was why the price point is, about $100, a little over $100 if you get more of the stuff. And they have a little bit of the unlocks right here. New items, solo mode. Now, they say the solo mode is more than just a solo mode. It's, actually trying to make it a solo with someone else, not just two-handed. So that's, again, something to be aware of. More dice, and then little miniatures for the solo mode as well, with a few other extras in terms of scenarios. So, again, it's killing it too. 230,000. Again, from a game that, has the pedigree in terms of the name recognition. But I don't know what people were sort of expecting. I wasn't necessarily expecting this much either. But it's got standees and not miniatures for the most part. And people are actually pledging for it. So that's the other surprise, is because I always hear that standees are kind of poo-pooed around here on Kickstarter. So there you go. Last up, we have Artisans of Splendent Vale, which shortly after this video is premiered, will be ending tomorrow afternoon. And so again, they've got some of these stretch goals in terms of funding, in terms of like slipcases and new adventure, and a little bit of everything else in terms of the upgrade of the characters and a little bit more adventure stuff. So again, it's going to be ending soon. They are very clear up at the top, Renegade is, that they are going to be available at retail, but it's going to be for more of a price. So now, it's, again, not through normal distribution, so you'll be able to get it probably on their website for whatever you feel of that. And that's okay. But again, $172,000. There's like 10 or 12 games, I feel like, right now that are broken the 6-figure digit funding on Kickstarter right now, which is a lot at the same time. It really is. I mean, the ones I'm not even mentioning this week, like One Deck Galaxy, Light in the Mist, a couple others that are just, flying under the radar in terms of how good they're actually doing, because nowadays, people kind of scoff at 6 figures, but, it's really good. So, good job for all those. There you go. So that's it. That's it for the roundup this week. Hopefully it's interesting. The upcoming games, I'll give you sort of some of the highlights for next week. I'll do that video still. It's not going to be probably as in-depth, but I'm going to, really give some explicit conversation on a few of those. And we'll just kind of see where it goes from there. Hopefully on Sunday, tomorrow, I will have another review out. I'm hoping to get my Beast one done. I don't know if that's going to be the case or if it's going to be one of the other smaller games that I mentioned previously. You'll find out if you tune in. So we'll just kind of see. But I hope to have it out, at least if it's not on Sunday, on Monday or Tuesday. So at least have it in the nutshell, but I'm working all weekend as well again. So that takes things up a notch from that side of things. And, you know, obviously there's a lot of TV discussion, and I didn't do that last week, and I miss doing that. So tomorrow's video will also have some TV discussion of what I'm watching, what you should watch, and some recommendations to watch as well, because I like doing that at the end of the video on the weekend. So we'll go from there. As always, though, thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with me. Thanks for dealing with all of this. Thank you for everything in the first place. Stay classy. I'll see you guys around. Have a great day.